I'm a complete beginner with zero DIY experience, and my plan is to turn this into a nice garden with a deck on budget. Can someone who has never built anything like this do this in a weekend?
No, not possible at all.
And how much this budget project is actually going to cost? I'll be tracking every euro I spent throughout the video to see if I actually stayed on budget. Let's find out. As I mentioned, I'm a complete beginner when it comes to DIY or gardening, and recently I moved to a new place with a small garden. I really wanted to have an outdoor space to enjoy the summer with my wife and friends. It actually doesn't look terrible right now, but I knew it could be better, so I decided to start by building a deck. And there is one specific thing I'm adding to the garden that reminds me of being a kid at my grandparents' house.
So what's the plan? At the very least, I want a terrace where I can have a cup of coffee or have a barbecue, and a nice green area that's actually pleasant to look at. As for the decking, I had a couple of options. Ideally, I wanted a proper deck with a foundation and long wooden planks. It looks great and lasts forever, but there are two big problems. First, it doesn't fit on top of my existing tiles, and I'm not ready to rip those out.
Originally, I wanted to use these plastic things as a foundation for wooden planks and then build a proper terrace on top of that. But the issue is I'm already having some flat surface here, which is nice. But because of this door, it just simply doesn't fit here. And I don't want to take out these tiles.
Second, the price. My rough calculations for materials alone were over €1,000, affordable but not suitable for this project. Just as I was about to give up, I found an alternative: interlocking floor tiles. They're usually used for balconies, but since I already have a flat surface, they might be perfect. Since the IKEA flooring was the cheapest option, I headed there on Saturday morning. I usually hate spending time in shops, it feels like a full day of work, but this time it was different. I was actually excited. We survived the IKEA labyrinth, and yes, we bought a few things we didn't really need. When I finally found the tiles, I had one question. Wait, can an €18 pack of plastic and wood actually look good?
I think in general it looks good, and it can be a very good option for our first deck. So I think we're probably gonna go with it. Looks good.
At first I decided to buy just one pack and check how it looked, and everything went well. I got used to it after a couple of days. Then I bought enough for the whole terrace and started assembling them immediately. For my terrace I needed around 15 square meters of tiles, which resulted in 19 packs, including one extra. At least that's what I thought. I started laying tiles and was surprised by how easy it was. You're basically playing with Lego. So if you have a flat surface in front of your house and you're looking for a really fast and budget-friendly way of building a terrace, this is the way to go. In the video it looks like there are some spots with a completely different color, but in reality it looks really even and much better. Can you imagine? It only took me 2 hours to complete the entire floor. I honestly spent more time trying to find my way out of IKEA.
So I have just finished the main part, and apparently I'm really bad at math because I have 2 full packs left and I bought only one extra, so yeah, probably something was off. And I think it looks good. It looks good for the price especially, and yeah, so I think what is left, I just need to put on edges.
Assembling them is like adult Legos. You just click the squares together. I used the special finishing edges to make it look polished, and the final touch was a custom cut piece for the doorstep. It's not a luxury villa terrace, but it looks great, and most importantly, I can finally walk outside barefoot. To finish the look, I swapped the old artificial grass for real lawn and added some plants. First, we needed to detach the old artificial grass, which looked good, but we still decided to experiment with a natural one. One thing we didn't think about was the size and weight of the artificial roll. Already in the middle of ripping it out, we thought that we were doing something stupid, and that this would leave us with a worse garden than before. Once we figured out how to move it out of our garden, we also removed the layer underneath it. Of course, I watched a couple of YouTube videos on how to lay grass. I also checked some recommendations while doing it, just to make sure I was not doing something completely wrong. I didn't buy all the needed tools for laying the grass, that's why just right after digging the top layer of sod, we understood we would not be able to level it out properly. This is where we decided we would not dig out the soil but would just try to make it flat using a rake. We smoothed it out and at that point it at least looked not that bad. We thought we might actually be able to finish the whole process. This is how our garden looked in the middle of the process. We got our lawn delivered earlier than expected, that's why we had to finish it on some random Tuesday after a work day. On one side the weather was not great for walking in the garden, but it was definitely a good time to lay out the lawn as the soil was wet. Because I was holding back on spending money on proper tools, we had to trample the ground ourselves to level it. Then I added some fertilizer and started laying rolls of lawn. This was a bit messy and difficult in the beginning, but with each new roll it became much easier and I felt more comfortable doing it. We finished only after sunset, so we had to continue working in the dark. After trampling the grass I watered it generously, especially on the edges, as recommended in many videos. We were super tired that evening, but we liked the result. Except I realized there was one more mistake I had made. It's obvious that when you order something like lawn you need to buy a bit extra, just in case. For some reason I completely missed that, which is why we had these empty patches where we didn't have any grass. It really bothered me and I didn't want to leave it like that, so I had to find somewhere nearby where I could buy and pick up just one extra roll, because usually the delivery cost is really expensive. After finding it and picking it up, I was able to finish the lawn and it looked way better than before. I watered the grass again and that was it.
This is the final result. Initially, when planning this video, I wanted to film only about building a deck on budget, but then during filming we understood that we actually wanted to change more in our garden. This is how we planted some trees and flowers and added this green area. So let's review what has changed since the beginning. First, we have this deck, which is budget-friendly and super easy to assemble. So if you also like and have a flat surface in front of your house, I definitely can recommend it. On this side of our deck, we planted some grass and filled the empty spaces with tree bark. I think this way it looks finished and hopefully it will stop weeds from growing on the edges. Another thing we added here are these 3 olive trees. Honestly, I planted them because I just found them on sale and they were really cheap. And I wanted to try to plant something. And also they remind us of some warm countries we had a chance to live in. Then we bought these pots which match our fence. And I'm really happy with the result. The final touch we added here is this pot with lavender and some smaller ones with tea herbs. I wish I could smell it through the camera. And sometimes I even open the door just to smell the lavender. It's really nice. Also have this old table and some chairs on the deck which do not really match what we're trying to achieve here. But we already had this before. And for now we're not ready to buy some garden furniture because it will be just over our budget. And I think probably for the nearest future we'll stay with this. Second, this green area. This is the highlight of our garden at the moment and I'm really happy with what we were able to achieve. It feels so good when you have real grass outside and every time I look out of my window I feel a bit better because of it. I'm still a bit scared of the maintenance part and it's not clear for me how it will look further down the line. But for now I'm really happy with what we have. By the way, this is how our lawn looks like approximately 2 or 3 weeks after we planted it. So far we had no issues and we watered it generously. We'll see what will happen next. In this green area we have 2 cherry trees. One is a bit healthier than the other one, but we decided to leave both of them for now. And I planted cherry trees specifically because first of all, they remind me of the time when I was a kid and ate one of the best cherries at my grandparents' house. And because these trees bloom so beautiful in the spring, hopefully one day these trees will give us fruit. We also added a bed of strawberries and tea herbs here, but then after planting it, we found out that this is not the ideal setup because mint can be very aggressive to other plants, so we will probably have to change that in the future. We put a small fan here to scare away the magpies that eat our strawberries. Fortunately, they leave some berries for us and we're enjoying them from time to time. Every time we go outside, we go right here to check how many new strawberries we have. I really like this feeling of excitement when you see that the new berries have ripened. This is basically it. I personally love the result. Of course, there are always things that you can improve, but this is just our first summer in this house and I'm extremely happy with what we were able to achieve. Of course, in the end, it was not done in just one weekend. Took us a couple of weekends to finish everything, and this is a bit over than the budget we planned initially, but I think it was worth it and we can finally enjoy the summer in our garden and invite our friends and family to spend some good time here.
So, let's check the final numbers. Here's the full breakdown of everything I tracked. IKEA tiles and edges, 400 euros. 3 olive trees, 37.5 euros. 2 cherry trees, 35 euros. Pots, 170 euros. Real grass with delivery and fertilizers, around 300 euros. Strawberries and mint, 17 euros. Total, 959.5 euros. What do you think of that budget? Was it worth it for the result?
Share your garden makeover experience in the comments below and tell me what could have been done better here. Subscribe and see you in the next one.